From the very first days of Doom and Wolfenstein, people have loved the act of viscerally blowing a man's brains out and tastefully redecorating the bedside cabinet. Things have moved on since those blood-soaked days of the early 90s, but within each gamer's heart there lies a distinct love for low-resolution ultra-violence. Hotline Miami has taken the Steam charts by storm, and it's clear that no matter how good your graphics are, or how intuitive your gameplay is, all people really want to do is put on a giant rubber animal mask, pick up a handily discarded katana, and run around the house of a complete stranger and his heavily armed pals, screaming bloody murder. The approach is from the Grand Theft Auto school of video gaming, and you see things from the perspective of the all-knowing Skylord, controlling your heavily armed badass as he proceeds to kick fuck out of pretty much anything with a pulse. Don't be fooled by the simplistic graphics, however. Each murder has its own unique charm, and whether you're straddling a man's back, violently smashing a face-shaped hole into the ground with his skull, or kicking open doors into the face of unsuspecting gangsters while throwing a knife into an occupied toilet stall, it's all beautifully rendered with a disturbing level of detail. The difficulty of the game itself is also surprisingly challenging, and it's going to take a few attempts of you having your bollocks blown into the ravenous jaws of a gangster's pit bull before you actually succeed. Thankfully, there are no lives to speak of, and restarting a botched assassination is pretty painless. If you find yourself huddled in a corner, low on ammo, and your only other weapon choice consisting of a small wooden stick, it's liberating to say, fuck it, before running into the hallway, spamming your attack button, and trying to take out as many nameless Russians with you as possible. You'll often be met with a grisly end, but sometimes, just sometimes, you'll be left panting, surrounded by a pile of slowly dying goons, smiling to yourself because you're such a fucking badass. The story sections of the game, if they can be described as that, consist of trips to your local pizza place, supermarket and video store, all of which seem to be run by the same ginger bearded hippie who bores you with unrelated small talk about the life you had before you were an answering machine hitman. I mean, who really cares? The music in Hotline is truly awesome, because nothing puts you in the mood for cold-blooded murder than a mix of 80s electro and 90s rave music. To be honest, I've always had a distinct murderous rage overtake me upon listening to electro, so this at least lets me take out my building rage with a killing spree, leaving both my criminal record and my already tenuous relationships with other people unharmed. My only criticism is sometimes the controls lead you to spaz out slightly and you're left furiously clicking as you run around the crack den trying not to die. This could just be more to do with my own skills as a gamer rather than the game's engine, and the quick restarts mean it all really doesn't matter. By the time you've restarted, you're already focusing on your next horrible, brutal, totally nihilistic killing spree. In conclusion, Hotline Miami is a breath of fresh air that reminds us of a time, a simpler time, where you could blow a man's brains out across the wall and everything would be fine. Nowadays, it's all about blocks and houses and little cute Japanese characters who collect flowers, and then you use those flowers to create a hat which you can share with your friends, and it's all great fun. Hotline Miami is about taking a pot full of boiling water and throwing it into the face of a guy you've never met. It's about killing a hobo in a darkened alley. It's about taking a prostitute and throwing her out the window because you just don't care about her. It's about taking a knife that you found just happily in the corner of a building, putting it into a guy's jugular and watching as blood sprays across the entire screen. And then you realise you probably shouldn't be playing all these games so much, and maybe you're taking things just a little too seriously. But on another note, the soundtrack's great, it's cheap, and it's available on Steam. And you know, at the end of the day, if you can't kill a man while wearing a giant rubber horse head mask, then why are we even playing games, man?